Hello guys, and welcome to Ride VIP, the Rideshare channel. My name is Serge, and in today's video I would like to show you my earnings for Saturday. I probably did not give it enough time, but would you give more time if you were getting paid $33.65 for 2 hours and 56 minutes of work with only 4 rides on a Saturday? Let me know in the comments below. But apparently today is not a good day, and I'm getting paid, what is that, like a little over $11 an hour minus, like I would have to minus out my fuel out of this, and I used up 1/4 of a fuel tank to do this type of thing. So I'm not going to be negative about it or whatever. Maybe I was in a bad location, I don't know, but today was obviously not my day, and I decided to call it a day. Decided to just go home and focus on my eBay business. As you could see, earlier in the week I did make $716.39. I have recorded some videos that I will be posting a little bit, well, right after this one. A series of videos. I recorded a ton of content while I actually was working. Some of it is me showing you guys how I'm doing, some of the strategies I'm using, because one of those days was a Wednesday and I made $350 on Wednesday. But after that, things quickly went downhill. I had like $166 day on a Thursday, $168 day on a Friday, and now about a $33 day on a Saturday. So maybe things are not going for me this week, which is fine. But let me know, how is your week going so far? But you know, let me know in the comments section below, like, are you doing good or are you about the same? But definitely this is concerning. I'm not gonna say that this really ruins it for me, but the thing is, if this type of income would continue, I really don't see how drivers would just continue driving at these low pays, because this is teenager pay from back in 2000s and we're living in 2024. So yeah, I am saying this with a smile on my face, but also a little bit concerned, not only for me but for you guys as well. Lyft and Uber income, this has been something that I relied as an income source, still rely on it to fill in the financial gaps for my expenses, for me and my wife and my kids. This is something that I always thought that I could just get out there, make some good money, and come back. And that very well may be the case. But when it's bad days like this, I go home. I do not try to stick around. So we could be negative, or we could cause this bad situation. What do they say, like, make lemon out of lemonade, right? So what would that mean for me? What does this mean for you? This means that you can't really rely on one income stream. Therefore, for many years now, I have been building many different income streams. I'm just like you guys. I've been basically working in the service industry one way or another, being a delivery driver for 14 years in a Sprinter van, and then for the last 3 years, almost 3 years, I mean, it's been 3 taxable years, I've been driving for Uber and Lyft. And it's been good and bad. You guys seen that. I mean, I do know how to strategize and come out there, make some good money, but there's only so much you could do if the work is not there. You can clearly see 4 rides. I was available, and guess what? I did not even cherry pick, because there's nothing to cherry pick. there's been delays between each ride, as you could tell. So I had to take what was coming at me, So, anyways, driving home. But what I do want to say is this. What can we do? Well, we could work on something else. Not quitting this, of course. Continuing to work for Lyft or Uber or both. But also trying to build something on the side, some kind of side hustle that eventually can replace your Uber and Lyft income. Like, that is the goal, at least for me. And I'm sure if you guys are working this type of job and you're watching this video, you're probably an entrepreneur yourself. At least you're business minded, because after all, driving Lyft, Uber, taxi, this is gig economy, of course, but it takes an entrepreneur, it takes a businessman to really do this type of work, because this is not you arriving to a job, clocking in. It's not really costing you any extra to be there except time. But this job not only costs you time, but it costs you money. And not just fuel. There's other expenses, obviously. There's wear and tear in your car. There's all sorts of things. And with that being said, I will just quickly mention, just 2 months ago, I have replaced my struts and shocks. And this week, my whole left side has failed me. They're making noise now, and it's not very apparent unless you go over, speed bumps very slowly. And trust me, I don't race through any speed bumps. I go like very comfortably slow, like gradual accelerations. This is a Chrysler 300, by no means, a sports car. This is more like a chill vehicle that you just comfortable to drive. And everyone that has gotten a ride in it always compliments me on my car all the time. Surprisingly, for a 19-year-old car, it gets that many compliments. But wear and tear in your car will happen. You will put mileage in a car. Just this year alone, even though I work part-time, I put 30,954 miles on this car. I mean, on the odometer, I have 130,954. This car has been pretty solid, but some of the suspension components, obviously, brakes, tires, inner and outer tie rods, your control arms, your sway bar links, and bearings, they do need to get replaced occasionally. Same thing goes for batteries, belts, alternators, and I have done that on this car. And this is why I'm mentioning all of these different things. And there's a few things that I'm not mentioning. But there's definitely a cost to doing this business. The positive thing for me is that I'm putting wear and tear on the car that is old. It's not like it's got a huge resale value. It's a nice car. I enjoy it. But at the same time, it's not expensive to operate, except with the fuel portion. It's not expensive to fix. But with that being said, there's still things that you have to do to it, while doing this, because miles are adding on. There's all kinds of service you got to do. So it costs me money one way or another. Therefore, there's that big tax deduction, mileage deduction at the end of the year we all take part in, hopefully all of us, because you are allowed to do that. Not sure what current year's standard mileage deduction, but I think it's somewhere around, at least it was, 65.5 cents per mile. And if you take a look at the actual mileage you put in your car, you're probably only making 75 cents a mile when tallying up all of the miles, unless you're really cherry picking. But I'm speaking to the majority of people that's just, maybe on autopilot like me, that's driving around. And I do both. I cherry pick too sometimes. It just depends on the situation, depends on the strategy, whatever I'm using. But those deductions, they do help you pay little to no taxes at the end of the year, depending on your situation, depending on how many miles you put on and everything like that. But you will also notice that you really don't have any money. And that's because most of it went towards expenses on the car and you haven't realized, whether you paid a mechanic, whether you bought parts and fixed it yourself. But after bills, you're probably not having much left over. So if you had to pay taxes, you would go in a hole. And this is why I think the standard mileage deductions increases every single year, because our expenses increase. Not only that, the fuel cost is going up, but the cost of goods is going up all over. Cost of living, your rents, mortgages went up, the interest rates on homes, and also the parts went up. The cost of service to have to pay the mechanic, the tools went up. Like, everything is going up. And of course, this is partly due to inflation. And because of that, there needs to be an adjustment in how much standard mileage deductions you get to deduct. Now, with a brand new car, it will hurt you a lot more, because not only that, it's costing you all this extra money, because some of these are wear and tear components that warranty will not cover on the new cars, okay? And not only that, but there's a lot of stuff that you're not thinking about that the warranty just doesn't cover. The dealership will tell you that it does, but when push comes to shove and they got to pay for something, they don't want to pay for it. Trust me, I know this firsthand. You probably seen some of the videos I posted late last year, right around like November, October area. But then I took them down just because, I kind of thought, well, maybe it's not the right place to talk about my service technician job. But at the same time, I wanted this channel to be like a motivation for people to be able to do this and work on other businesses and to better yourself. And for me to be a guinea pig and go to some of these places, get hired or whatever, if that's what it takes, or do some gig and see if, grass is greener on the other side, which in my experience, it wasn't. What I was gonna say with working for Chrysler Jeep Dodge, I quickly realized when I was a service technician that the dealership did not want to spend the money to do warranty work on cars that did not have complaints about that specific problem, even though as a service technician, I've noticed some of the safety components, including with the suspensions, that has failed on brand new cars. Some of them not brand new, but still within warranty, because I have to look those things up, and I could tell the car came in for warranty work. The complaint was actually similar to the cause that I needed to replace, but what they wanted to do is not replace those things. I'm talking about bushings that's just completely shot, like worn out, and people are complaining that the vehicle does sort of like a death wobble when driving. I'm talking about these Jeep Wranglers and stuff, and they're like, oh, there's a warranty on a front, like a center, like a shock that goes from side to side that maybe has failed, and they're just replacing those, which is fine. It gets covered by warranty. But I check in the rear and the shocks are gone, and because as a result, because the shocks are shot, it has destroyed the upper bushings where the car actually, the body meets like the frame of the car, and it needs to be sort of like a cushion. So like there's like this, I don't know, like a 4-inch bushing that's completely torn off, and it's not going to cost that much money to have to replace that. But I'm like, look, this is this car also gonna need rear shocks and those bushings. And they were looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, are you serious? You want the dealership to have to pay for that? This is warranty. Like, we're losing money. They were making me look like I'm the bad guy. And there was nothing I could do. I went to the upper management to let them know, and everybody basically gave me the same thing. They're like, look at me like, well, that's going to cost the dealership, right? Hence, when I actually put in my 2 weeks notice after working there a month and being paid $16 an hour, which I actually was told I'm going to get guaranteed $16 an hour, and I was going to get unlimited overtime, however much I want, just because they are super busy and they need me to do as much work as possible, which I thought, okay, sure. I worked all of the overtime, and come paycheck, I realized that I'm only getting $514 per week for 50-hour work week. I mean, I understand Uncle Sam got to get their taxes, right? But when I looked, I wasn't getting paid for any overtime that I did. And then turns out they were not paying service technicians for overtime. So I quickly realized, that's a problem, because while working there 50 hours a week, I was not able to work for Lyft or any of my side hustles or small businesses that I have that I need to put work in. And there's also some streams of income that I have coming in that I just need to kind of keep up with it and stuff, and contribute a little bit of time and getting consistently, paid on. And my wife was very disappointed at how much money I'm making, because now, she's looking at this, she's like, this can't keep up, and I know it. And I was gonna try to wait around, maybe I would get a raise in 3 months, but because at that time when I was doing the calculations working for Lyft, I was making about $16 an hour, and then you have to take the fuel out of it. And when I would do the calculations, I'm thinking, I'm only getting $11 an hour after fuel expense. And you already know, we just talked about it, it's not just fuel expense. So I thought, well, $16 an hour couldn't be worse than working for Lyft, right? Or Uber. And I'm thinking, plus overtime, so that's got to mean something. Plus there's a possibility of raises, whereas with Lyft or Uber, it doesn't matter how many years you work, it's just up and down, it's all over the place, it's mixed. Some days are good, some days are bad, that's just how it is, supply and demand, right? But it's really bad when you can't make any money. But long story short, it gets better. When I put in my 2 weeks notice, after explaining the fact I got a wife and 3 kids, and this can't continue, I got to get back to what I was doing to actually make a decent living, because what is $514? Like, I make way more driving for Lyft. I was making at that time anywhere from $1,500 to $2,300 a week. So you might be thinking, how the heck are you doing that if you're only getting like $60 an hour? Like I said, there's a good and a bad. There's challenges that you could complete, and there's strategies you could apply, and at the same time you could pretty much work 12 hours a day until the cows come home. And that's what I did. I was really killing myself, tired, being like tired as heck, right? But I was able to control my income just by working longer hours. So at the end of the day, that works out, and worked out for me. So looking at $514 a week, that wasn't for me. But guess what? It gets better. So when I put in my 2 weeks notice, they said I don't really have to work 2 weeks. If I need to do what I gotta do, I could just work a week, and that's fine. They were being understanding, even though they didn't want to lose me. And I worked an additional week, put in 50 hours, gave my 110%, came in on time every day. Actually, I came in sooner than the foreman did, 30 minutes before him, because I came in sooner so I could, put in some more overtime, even though I already knew I'm not getting paid for overtime. But, nonetheless, I want to leave, I guess, a good, how should I say, impression, even though I'm leaving. I don't want to work now less just because they're paying me less, because the way I look at it, it's kind of like a business. How would I treat if this was my business? I'm gonna put in 110%. But anyways, it gets better. Right after I quit, I waited 2 weeks till the pay period and did not get nothing. And I thought, well, maybe it fell in between pay periods, since they pay every 2 weeks. Waited an additional 2 weeks, got nothing. After that, I gave a company a call, and they said, oh, they're communication, like through emails, this, that, with the billing department, and like whatever. Gave me the runaround for about a couple months, up until I just called them up, like, even though like I was just calling them like every, like maybe like one time a week. And for a while I called like once every 2 weeks just to check on things. But then I'm like, once a month has passed, I was calling them like once every week, because at this point I knew that I should have got paid already, and I keep getting the runaround. I'm sure nothing's being done in the background. And guess what? I was correct. Nothing was being done. Then I called up my hiring manager, and I told her very nicely. And I said to her, listen, this is how long it's been. I should have got paid by now. And I said, don't you think this is a little unprofessional, like for me not to get paid by the company? But not only that it's not professional, it's illegal. You know what she said? She said to me, even though she was the sweetest person while I worked there, or so that I thought, I had no reason to think any otherwise. Good smiles and hellos and that kind of thing, and telling me how good I'm doing, and telling me I'm rehireable on an exit interview. You know what she tells me? I don't give a F. You don't work for me anymore. And I'm like thinking, well, that escalated quickly because I was being very reasonable. And she just hangs up the phone. I didn't say nothing else. I waited then until January. I did not want her to get in trouble, so I didn't call the company. I didn't try to speak to upper management to try to get her in trouble. I thought maybe she's having a bad day. I don't want to make it worse on her than it has to be. And I thought, well, maybe soon they're going to take care of something, and then make me look like I'm the one that's impatient, right? But no, that wasn't the case. January came and went. My W-2s arrived in the mail kind of late, like 2 weeks after. And I did call at the end of January. I'm like, well, my W-2s are late in the mail. I got to do my taxes. And they're like, I didn't get mine either. That's the thing I got. I'm like, okay. I waited till I got my W-2s. Well, little did I know, the W-2s did not reflect the fact that I worked there an extra week. It only reflected my first paycheck, which was for 3 weeks, because they paid only 2 weeks, and I got employed there in between pay periods. So then I tried to get this resolved, and I tried to speak to upper management at this point, which I also got to run around. And even though they told me I was going to speak to their general manager, they connected me with Amanda. And I said, well, I said, I actually was not expecting to be talking to you right now, because I have been talking to you for the last 3 months, and nothing was done. So I'm sorry, but I need to speak to general manager. And she said, well, you got to speak to me or whatever, but it's okay. I said, nope, I'm gonna have to solve this some other way. And then I actually showed up physically, because they did not connect me with general manager, and I showed up physically, and I in person, dressed in a suit, and I asked to speak to the general manager, and they did get me to him. Happened to be this young guy that I've never seen before. He tells me that that general manager that I was getting ready to see, he does not work there anymore, and it is his job now. And he told me, of course, we're going to get you paid, being real nice about it. He says, you're going to have to provide us proof of your timesheets and stuff. And I said, listen, I've been clocking in on a computer. This is not just like some timesheets that, time clock, like those old school time clocks where you clock in, maybe somebody made a mistake, something got lost. Not only that, I clock in on the computer when I arrive to work, I also clock out on that same computer. But unlike regular employees, being a service technician, I had to clock in and clock out for every single job I did on every single vehicle, because that's the way service technicians get paid. So for those jobs, I was getting paid $18 an hour. But guess what? My paycheck did not reflect that. It was just like I was not even getting paid that, so it was kind of weird. So yeah, did not get paid for overtime on my first 3 weeks of work. Did not even get my last week's paycheck. And I did not call North Carolina Department of Labor to get the company in trouble. I've been patient all this time. I actually forgot about this whole thing, kind of, because I thought, well, maybe eventually they'll come to their senses and they're going to pay. And maybe it's my mistake for not going to Department of Labor right away. But at the same time, I did not want the company to look bad. I did not want to cause any, I guess, bad blood or whatever you would call it, because I didn't have any bad blood with them, even though of this situation. But I kind of wonder, am I the only one this was done to? Or was there others that they did exactly the same thing to? Which is very disappointing, because this is not something you would expect from a professional dealership like Chrysler Jeep Dodge, to be able to just not pay their employees. It's not like I was working for some Joe Schmo mechanic shop, you know. But in either case, I haven't done anything yet. But I'm wondering, even though this video was not going to be about this, I'm wondering, what would you have done if this was the case with you? Would you go to the North Carolina Department of Labor and submit a complaint? Or would you just provide timesheets to that company so they could pay you? Well, guess what? It is not the norm for anyone to have their timesheets there. That is not something that they tell us, you know, to get. We were not getting provided with our timesheets, nor they said, you know, we should like print them out. But guess who printed off every single timesheet? Me. I printed off everything. I have all of them. So I do have proof of me working there. Not only that, I have small videos and everything of me performing various tasks working there. I am not disappointed that I got a job there, but it did open up my eyes after all this year. Like, stuff like that is still going on. When I was 18 years old, I worked for some shady places like that did various things that I'm not going to mention, but like, I thought, well, certainly this is not going to be one of those places. But still, being 43 years old, if life has taught me anything, you know, I know better. So I printed off every single timesheet, so I got everything. But let me know in the comments section what you would do. But I'm kind of thinking that, I mean, literally, there's really no reason to really wait around any longer. I may just go ahead and let Department of Labor know that that's the case, and just give the timesheets to them and let them deal with that. Because I'm thinking that everything should be in their computers, and they should have paid me, especially when I spoke to the general manager, provided them my information. I gave them my work employee number and stuff like that. There needs to be no reason for me to even have timesheets or having to prove that I have timesheets. You know, because if I would have not print those things out, I would have not had any way to prove the situation. And why are they making me prove that I actually even work there or clocked in and clock out? You know, it's understandable that maybe some days or weeks nothing would be done. It's understandable. But not to lose my whole weeks of pay. That's beyond me. But in either case, I recorded a lot of videos for you guys, kind of like what I'm currently working on and what I'm doing. And by no means I want to complain about anything. By no means. Because look, when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade out of it. Right after I quit that job, and even though I did not, was not getting a paycheck, I didn't just stop doing what I'm doing. Like, I started working on my own business, and I was going out there and still doing Lyft. I didn't do any Uber at the time, but I did some Lyft. I had some good weeks, and I have other things that I'm working on, which I will mention in other videos. I don't want to make this video too long, but what I want to do is this, guys. I'm recording podcast style videos like this, like I have been, and I'm going to be posting them like one by one, even though I record them like in one day, because they're not like time sensitive or anything. It's just information. It does not matter which video you would click on, you would still get whatever the information I provide in that particular video. It's not like you would be at a loss, but it would be a good idea just to to listen to everything in order. That way, it's a story of me, like basically explaining everything that I have worked on and what I'm doing, because I don't just sit around, I work on my stuff. So the most important thing that I'm working on right now is my eBay store. And I'm basically trying to grow it. Recently, they have upped my selling limits from, that's for every single month, from $138,000 per month to $500,000 a month. and I can now list 7,000 items per month instead of 3,800. Not that I've been meeting those other standard like limits. I wasn't meeting them, but I'm pretty good at eBay. Like, I'm not like professional, like, but I'm just saying, like, I do a pretty good job. But my goal is to have a multi-million dollar business on eBay when it comes to used car parts or what have you. So I have been just recently just getting a lot of things taken care of so that I could just get in there and start really, really, really working on it and getting a lot of stuff done efficiently, effectively, make sure everything's organized. And I've been working on that. And that is no easy task, because for me to get to where I am, I literally did this blue collar jobs like driving, delivering jobs, to be able to take that money. Not only that, I provided for my family and I worked so much, I also bought a lot of investments. So by no means I'm trying to brag here. I'm literally taking what I get in all my time invested in working at all those jobs and reinvesting the money in myself and tools and in equipment. And I'm building things and building systems and basically just trying to go forward and make more money. So the reason I'm making this video as long as I am, just to kind of give you some highlights in case you're watching this for the first time, that I'm someone that's constantly trying to improve myself and help others improve themselves, and perhaps give you guys a key that maybe you were missing, to be able to give you that pat on the shoulder of comfort, to let you know that, hey, things don't have to be bad and you can improve things yourself, but you're going to have to work on yourself and be able to work extra hard, because you're going to have to get done what's got to get done, and then some, to be able to actually overcome these challenges. And I'm at this point where I listed the maximum amount of items that I could for the store that I had. And I just upgraded my store so I could list more items. And here's the way I'm thinking. Look, I already have items listed. I'm selling stuff every single day. And I've been working hard on my eBay over the last couple weeks. But prior to those weeks, I've been getting things ready, and I wasn't just not doing anything. I wasn't doing Lyft or Uber, but I was really, really, really working on myself and my eBay store. Like, I'm talking about my warehouse as well, like in all of my systems. That finally everything is the way I want, that can lead me to have growth and for me to be able to be, I guess, like efficient, and at the same time, to be able to like list things a lot faster, find items, make sure my shipping is on point, make sure like all of those things are good, make sure I could find the items, and on and on and on. But I've been posting some listings on random stuff like that I buy, like, because I want to be able to show you guys that you can be a reseller on eBay by shopping at like thrift stores like Goodwill while you're driving for Lyft and Uber. In between rides, allow Uber and Lyft to be your income stream that funds your fuel to go and your purchases at those thrift stores for things you could resell. Like, I'm talking, you get a $2-3 item that you're going to resell for 20-25 bucks. That's the norm. Occasionally you're going to find something that, like, my friend finds stuff that like he buys for $5, resells for like 4,000. That occasionally will happen. So that's why I've been basically testing that stuff, like, instead of just listing parts, because I used to just post used car parts, and I will be. That's like my primary goal. I have 35 cars that I'm going to be posting cars with, and I have lots of videos where I explain step by step, like, my whole process, my thought process, my steps, and everything that I'm doing, and why I'm doing those things in all those videos. So trust me, they're not boring. As long as you're not like doing anything like like to where like like watching a YouTube video would be, I guess, burdensome, like something, I don't know like the right word for it. But I'm thinking those people that are driving, since this is like a podcast style video, you could just play me in the background between trips or whatever, and perhaps get some ideas, perhaps get inspiration, and to see what else other drivers are doing, because I'm sure I'm not the only one, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that has the most amount of success, and I don't want to claim to be better than anybody else. I'm just somebody that works extra hard, because I got to get things done. I have to get things done, and I want to. And I just want to be able to help people out with that. So most likely this video is not going to get a tons of views, and it's okay. I'm not trying to sell you anything, like no course, no nothing. I'm basically an open book, and I'm giving all the information away for free as long as you're willing to take it. So you could clearly you could clearly see that I'm actually investing my time right now into making this video. I'm not actually even driving right now, but I try to make sure that I maximize my time to the best ability. What I mean by that, if I'm driving Lyft or Uber, I'm recording these long-winded videos where I could actually talk about stuff, because if I have to stop at home and try to do that, then that's going to take away from my actual business, and I really don't have time for that. As a matter of fact, once I get done with this video, even though it's 2:43 a.m., I'm actually getting ready to hop on my eBay train, and I'm going to be listing away. I'm going to be like working all night long, and once that night passes, I'm going to probably take a little sleep. I've been getting very little sleep this week, 2 to 3 hours a day, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, but not enough, because I'm willing to do what needs to get done, and sometimes that means you lose sleep. I'm not drinking any energy drinks. However, I do like coffee, and I had a coffee today, late coffee. So it's I don't even know if they help me or nothing, but I actually feel great. Right after I stop using energy drinks, I don't feel like I'm being dragged down, and I also cut sugar out. So now I actually got more natural energy to be able to continue, and I'm drinking like water and stuff, except not right now, like on this video. That's why I've been kind of like coughing up or something, because like I guess like my mouth is drying up, or my throat or something. But in either way, I will tell you this, guys. It is important for you to be honest with yourself, what you want to do. I'm not saying go out there and do YouTube or eBay, because I'm doing YouTube, I'm doing eBay, and I'm doing a lot of other things. But find something that you're passionate about and do that. Maybe right now that's not going to make you money, but eventually that little side hustle can turn into a nice little income stream for you, and this is something you could grow with. So pick something wisely that you like and just improve on that. So everything that I do complements each other. So even though I'm not doing so well on Lyft right now, it's okay. I use my time wisely, and I recorded a bunch of videos that at least can help people, and eventually this can help my channel, because you gotta like plant your seeds, and eventually they're gonna reap rewards potentially. I do have 3 channels that are monetized, so yes, I am reaping some rewards. This is not huge money by any means from this channel, enough to pay for an iPhone. That's how much I get every single month for this channel. So if I post videos, I make that, or I don't post videos, I still make the same thing. So it's not like I need to continue to post videos. But in either way, I'm still determined to continuously post videos. I have tons of content recorded that I did not post. So some of the stuff will come in a little bit late, but not the most recent stuff I've recorded. Once I run out of that content, I will still record newer content. But there's a lot of content I have recorded, business related, throughout these years that I decided not to post just because I'm thinking, is it really the place for me to be talking on the Rideshare channel about my businesses, my business ideas? But recently, some of you guys have told me that you actually like those style videos and it gets you inspired, gets you motivated. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's not a mistake for me to just record them because I literally just set on a bunch of videos and actually got rid of a lot of videos, just locked them, but then I unlocked them back just because I thought, they might help somebody out. It's informational. I like to listen to podcasts myself. So I'm sure everybody's different. Uh, I like to be relatable to my type of audience, and I try to think about, okay, if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm business minded and I'm working on my stuff, what am I doing driving Lyft? I'm not just I'm not in survival mode, but I'm sure a lot of people are doing this as a side hustle because they got maybe another job, or you know, they are working on their business. Maybe the business is not doing so well because it's a small business, and you go out here, you try to drive a little bit, make some extra money to get the bills paid and get the ball rolling, and perhaps keep improving and working on your other business. And I'm no different. I'm no different. So one of the advantages for me to work for Lyft, and that's just one of them. There's many, and I'm not just saying Lyft. I'm just working currently for Lyft. It would apply to Uber as well, or any other gig economy work. It just would apply as long as you're able to speak on a phone or speak or record videos. See, one of the advantages is while working, I'm able to work on my eBay in between trips, and I'm actually able to record videos and work on my YouTube channel. And then, there's some other stuff I could do, like I do consulting as well. So there's that. I could also stop doing my work, and I could also deliver packages to post office, like I have been. I ship stuff for eBay. I just take it with me and then I ship stuff in the morning. So I'm using my time wisely. uh and once I posted all of the items in my eBay store, that was the maximum allowed. um I had two options. I could either upgrade to a bigger store. I mean, I could have continued posting stuff, except it would cost me insertion fees, like 30 cents per listing for the type of store that I had. If you don't have no store, it costs you 35 cents extra for insertion fee. So that can really, really add up, especially if you're not going to sell anything, you just have a bunch of stuff listed. And there's a huge confusion about how that works. So I actually will unravel how this whole thing works by actually giving eBay a call. I already have. I recorded the video. It turns out I was right. If you could only list 250 items, even though it's telling you could list more, you will get charged insertion fees once the items that you posted before renews, and like they don't sell. So that's how that would happen. So when I would actually like max out my store, right, with the amount of items that I'm selling. And that was still a challenge to try to max it out because, I'm trying to do eBay, I'm trying to drive, I'm trying to take care of family and working on other things. So it's a little bit challenging, but not really. There's things that you could do to improve, and I'm working on those things. Once I was at a max for the store level, well, guess what? I'm done working, for eBay that day, and then I wait for sales to come in. So instead of sitting around and waiting and saying that, you know, uh, well, I'm at max, I just go out there and start driving Lyft. And then I start getting some sales, and then I basically would just get, how should I say, stuck working for Lyft because I'm seeing, this is pretty good money and I'm sticking with it. I'm making, like a little more, and then there's some challenges that arises and I complete those challenges, make a little bit more money. I'm thinking, man, I'm making more money than eBay. Seriously. So I stick around. But my goal is to make as much, if not more money on eBay. Well, of course, a lot more money on eBay. But if I could just make the same amount that I am on, like making for Lyft at home, that would make me really happy. And also that would open up more opportunities for me to make even more money. So that would be good. So in order to make more money, that means I have to have a bigger store. But if you're not currently selling a lot of items, like you're selling some items, but my income is like anywhere from $20 to $100 a day, that is not a lot just because there's like no stability. I can't honestly say, oh, it's $100 a day. Nope, because it's not. And if it was, that would have been okay. So if I grow a bigger store and just simply stay at home, it might not necessarily reap any rewards right now, because the way eBay works is if your store is new and you're just like listing stuff, they're looking at, are you somebody that can be reliable? Will you ship things on time? Sure, you're listing a bunch of things, but can you be trusted as a seller? Are you trying to scam people? So they have like an automatic scam detection tool. If somebody is listing a lot of expensive items and they're listing like a tons of them to scam people, so they understand that. And also, when you're listing stuff, just because you listed a lot of stuff, it doesn't mean you're going to get those sales right away, because eBay wants to find out, can you manage one item that's being sold per day, and they keep testing you. And then how about two or three items per day? Okay, you're managing, you're shipping things on time, they'll send you some more business. That's just kind of how it works. I mean, it's millions people that's doing this, lots of competition, still a good place to make money, but you have to sort of prove yourself. And I've been taking a break for eBay for a while. For the last 4 years, I've been kind of taking a break. And what I mean by that is, sure, I had about $38,000 of stuff posted, things that can sell, and I could make that much money. By no means I was meeting my $138,000 challenge, like monthly goal. But at the same time, I have that huge amount of dollars listed, and things are not selling that quickly, obviously. So there's that, right? Um, so that means it takes time for things to be able to sell. But when you also take time away from eBay, and then you're not being, I guess, consistent with posting items, even though you can't really tell, but your store is basically becoming, I guess, less noticed by the public, just because eBay will not be promoting a store that, you know, maybe they will do okay, maybe they will ship stuff, because you're not being consistent, and instead they'll send all the traffic to somebody that's been doing it for a while. So in order for me to really start back up and actually really post a lot of items to eBay, it needs to be a gradual thing. You just don't want to do it all at once. But now, I could actually have a bigger store, and I chose to have now 1,000 item store per month, just because I have a little over 250 items listed. And it's time for me to start listing more. So I have to work on that. So once I list some more on eBay, I will be getting out there and, still waiting for my sales, get out there and work for Lyft, because just because I listed the things on eBay doesn't mean that they're going to sell right away. And if they do, I could always ship them once I come back home, which is good. I will ship them, like next day. If they sell today, I'll ship them next day. It's fine. While, if there's no sales going on, I'm waiting on sales, I'm actually making some kind of income. And this is pretty good, dependable income. Some days are good, some days are bad, as you could tell, as long as you have something else going for you. And there's obviously other things that I'm doing. I also travel all over the world, and I get paid for that. But that is not a constant thing, nor would I want it to be a constant thing, even though it's fun. Just because I also want to be able to work on my business, even though it's not making me a lot of money. And I'm talking about eBay business. There's other businesses, of course, that I have in mind. Like last year, after leaving my um, like service technician job at Chrysler Jeep Dodge. I mean, I talked about this, but I looked at the toolboxes being full of tools, and I have a bunch of tools at home. I maxed out the two huge toolboxes that they had. I had over $10,000 in my toolboxes, and I did not need to borrow any tools to work on any cars. And that made me realize, wait a minute, I'm servicing every single car that comes through this door with my own tools at $60 an hour. I'm actually like a business. I invested all of this money in tools, yet I'm only being paid as an employee $16 an hour. Not only that, they're not even paying me overtime. So what can you do? You could complain. I would not. Why would you complain? So I thought, okay, what's the next best thing? Well, I could become a mobile mechanic and make way more money than what they're paying me with the current tools that I have. I don't need to have additional investment. As a matter of fact, I already have a van, to do it in. I mean, I own 10 of them. So that's no bother. So I'm thinking, how about that? I mean, I have toolboxes as well. So guess what I did right after I quit? Immediately, I began to working on that van. I began to work on my website. I put together a van that is a mobile mechanics van. I'm getting a tons of phone calls. I don't answer my phone call. I know I sound like a bad businessman. And sure, that can make me more money. But there's only so much time in the day. I only did that to prove to myself that I could become a mobile mechanic. And I didn't think I was going to get work right away, but I did, and I actually serviced some people. But here's the thing: most people, they just call. I want them to at least send me a text message or email or something, because I don't want to answer every single call, because I want to see at least in an email or a text message, what is this about? Because I've answered calls in the beginning, and a lot of them were time wasters. People just wasting my time, or they have such a huge job that they want me to do, like engine work and stuff. And as I'm talking about disassembling, reassembling engines, I'm not gonna do that on the side of the street or in a parking lot. I have my own shop that I could do it in. But guess what? I had customers here before with their own vehicles, but I chose, at least for now, not to really have anybody come over to my shop. Just because I have a family that lives here next door, and it poses some kind of risk. And like, I don't want to have like random strangers knowing where I live. I mean, it's easy to find that out anyways. But the thing is, to service something for somebody, and if they don't like something, or they don't pay me, it's just gonna pose complications. So instead, I chose just to choose who I do business with, and only choose the jobs that I could handle with my mobile mechanics van. That's the whole reason, to show up there and like complete like an emergency job. But that that is a business that would take time to grow. I don't know if I'm 100% serious about that business, because I am not really passionate about working on other people's cars. I will do a good job. I will show up and give my 110% and fix everything and really help somebody out. But I have to be honest with myself. Is this really the way for me forward? I have all these cars here. I could be, buying, fixing, and flipping cars. I can be listing used car parts online. I could completely work from home. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to answer any phone calls. I mean, I'm at that such a stage in my life. Not saying I'm better than anybody, but like, I can pretty much pick what I want to do. Sure, if I just had my mechanics job and I quit and I did a mobile mechanics job, and that's the only thing that I had going for me, 100% I would be doing every single job that came in. But I don't have to. Even though I will get paid good money, I am denying a bigger paycheck for an opportunity to grow my business from home. Because as long as I work really hard on my business at home, guess what? I'm going to be the one that controls my income. I'm going to be controlling where I go, when I wake up. When you're doing stuff for people, it's, like, there's always complications with stuff. People have certain expectations. You have certain expectations. And also, most of these people, they're like, oh, I just want you to do like a timing belt. But once you start finding out what's really happening, I already could tell, according to what they're saying, the problem's a lot bigger than a timing belt or timing chain. It's way deeper. They're just hoping that that's going to fix the issue. And I'm thinking, if I was to perform such a job and charge them for it, but it doesn't fix anything, guess what? They're going to be looking at me and saying, well, why should I pay you? You didn't fix my problem. But I would be like, you asked me to replace a timing chain or timing belt, and I did. My job is complete here. I need to get paid. But they're going to be thinking the job is not complete because they're still having a problem and expecting me to fix it for free. I had those type of clients already. I had them. So I understand the expectation. But also some clients, they allow me, well, not some clients, like I'm just saying, like, I prefer to diagnose the vehicle myself and let them know what needs to be done. And if the problem is bigger than I want to tackle, I'm just gonna say, find somebody else. This is not something I do here. But if I understand that, whatever I'm gonna do is going to fix the problem, then I give my recommendation. But it's never a guarantee because some causes and concerns, they're different for every vehicle. Sometimes the diagnostics are similar, and sometimes the diagnostics computer, will not show what the actual problem is. So you have to kind of know a lot about how cars work, and I do, because I am 43 and I've been working on all my cars. So far, so good. I was able to solve all of my issues, and I'm self-taught, so I actually kind of, from experience, I understand like what's going on with the vehicles, just because I put tons of miles on them. Especially Mercedes Sprinter diesels. I understand how they work, what's required, just because I've been driving it for the last 14 years, since 2007. Uh, and I ran into so many problems, which taught me how to take care of those issues on the side of the road, because I had to get it fixed. I had to make that delivery. Otherwise, not going to get paid. And trying to get my vehicle towed somewhere from the middle of the country, uh, that is not an option. That would be way too expensive. And if you've been an expedite before, you've been in delivery, you already know. Those guys are barely getting by. There's not a lot of money. When I did that type of work, sometimes I was late on my rent because also those companies come up with excuses when they don't pay you on time. Somebody messed up something, like, and like they come up with excuses, but you already know that even those companies themselves, they're not being paid on time, so they're having to lie to their drivers, like, oh, it's just, bank computer, like computer error or whatever, just excuses why the delays are there, because they're trying to uh borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and it's not as quick as they thought it was going to be. And there would be like delays. But even with jobs like that, I worked super hard, extra hard, and I learned how to fix all my stuff myself. That's the only way I was able to get ahead, by fixing my own stuff. And that's before my YouTube channel, and I saved up enough money to then buy my home and my commercials property for cash. And if you watch my videos and listen to my podcast, you will quickly realize I'm not trying to show off, or be ignorant by any means. I live below my means. I still work super hard, and I'm continuously working on myself and my business. And like anything that I do, I try to always do 110%. Um, I don't have a huge home. It's only 900 square feet, and I have 3 kids and a wife. So obviously, not living in luxury by any means. And that is all by design, because why would I need to show off by getting a bigger home, even though I could afford it technically, when I can take that money that I would have spent on a newer car, on a bigger place, reinvest it in myself and into my business, and be able to then better myself with time. Um, I know that's harder to understand, because a lot of my friends, they're doing just that. They got a bigger car, bigger house, and what I mean by bigger, more expensive, and they're barely getting by. And they have to continuously hustle at work, working probably as much as or as hard as I do, with having nothing to show for, because they have mortgages or rents they're barely keeping up with. And the way out of that situation is to look at everything, assess the situation, and then say, look, my rent is, let's say, like $1,400. How can I get that down to like half that? What would it mean for me if I only had like $600 or $700 rent? Is that even a possibility these days? If it's not a possibility, how can this be achieved? And the only way this could be achieved if you get your own place, you get your own land. So right now it's obviously tough. I bought my place 9 years ago, but things were a lot more affordable. And I also bought a regular, plot of land, residential, next door, which I then rezoned into commercial zone property. I didn't buy a commercial zone property. So I immediately increased value in my property by having it commercial. And that's where I keep all my cars, on that commercial zone property, which allows me to then further better myself by building small businesses. But it's hard because I'm trying to do everything debt free. And while that's not always the case, sometimes you have to get some money from credit cards, and I pay that stuff back. But I try to basically do everything for cash. That is the most important thing. If I get anything credit cards, it's like my fuel because I get mileage for it, and then I try to pay them off at the end of the month so that the companies don't make money on me. But I don't recommend using debts to grow your business. Personally, in my personal experience, businesses don't necessarily work out the way you want them to. There's a high probability of failure, especially when you're borrowing somebody else's money. But when you own your property, when you own your car, that already saves you a lot of money. Then you could basically have extra money. If you work just as hard, now instead of paying somebody rent or mortgage or car payment or bigger, expensive insurance payment, you have all that extra money. So you're working hard the same way you was, but now you're having a lot more money as a result, and you could actually invest it in something else. And before you know it, you're doing even better, even better. How do you think I got all this stuff that I did? I did just that. So I'm basically practicing what I'm preaching because I'm not better than anybody. This money was not given to me. My parents are still poor, divorced, and bitter because of, their life decisions and, mindset, not to put anybody down, but that's just what happens when, you have a certain type of mentality. You have to just think positively and never blame anybody but yourself, and learn to take responsibility for your actions. And just because you made a mistake, don't be beating yourself up about it. If you got a husband or a wife that's making a mistake, like financial, like I'm talking about like doing business or trying or failing, yeah, you can't be emotionally beating that person up for their mistakes. Because if you would learn anything from anybody that has really, really been successful in life, they will tell you some of them failed hundreds, if not thousands of times. So if you only failed, I don't know, a handful of times, that's not a failure by any means. You got to keep going. Trust me, I have a lot of failures under my belt. This was not all successes. This is learning experience and improving on, like what I've learned. And of course, this is why I feel obligated to share those things with somebody, because the only person that's going to listen to this is a like-minded person, somebody that's smarter than me or more ignorant than me, is not going to watch my video, is going to say like, what the heck is this guy talking about? They're not going to watch this. But somebody that is an open-minded person will understand I have something good to say. Besides, I have nothing to gain from this except respect, if anything. Because this video, I mean, I'm not looking at it like how much money is it going to make me, because I have a very tiny channel. I don't get tons of views. I get enough views, not tons of views. This video is not going to make it worth my while to really share this information. I'm just sharing information as I always have, from the heart, just trying to help somebody out, because the way I see it, we all should help each other. I'm not the only one that helps on YouTube. Tons of people. And I have learned from others, and I appreciate that somebody posted something, because sometimes what seems to be like a stupid question, somebody has a solution to that, and it's no question stupid. If you don't know, you don't know. But when you learn it, it looks like a stupid question because it's like so easy. But if you don't know what's going on, it's gonna look very challenging and heartbreaking and will bring you to tears. I have faced those type of situations myself, and once I learned how to overcome them, I share them on my channel, my main channel, and also this channel. And I get emails all the time. You saved me and this and that, like lots of positivity. I don't see even negativity. Like I don't see it. And maybe it's because people can tell I speak from the heart, and I'm not trying to prove nothing to anybody. I'm not trying to say, "Oh, look at me. I'm better than you." Like, no. I like to uplift people. You don't want to knock people down. Somebody's down. You can't be knocking him down. It's true what they say. Bad things happen to good people, and that is normal. And also, there's such a thing as called Murphy's Law. I mean, it's funny analogies that I learned even since I was a kid, but I heard Murphy's Law from a teacher that was named Murphy, out of all places, and I guess he, took it to heart. And he says that if you're, not ready for a certain situation, Murphy's Law says that that particular thing is actually going to be a problem for you. Like, because I don't remember exactly how to say it, but the thing is, what it means is this kind of like, let's say you don't have a backup plan, how you're gonna pay rent, and you just lost your job. Murphy's Law says pretty much your car is gonna break down that same week. You're not gonna be able to pay for your car. Now you don't have a car. You lost your job, and if you don't have no backup plan, how are you gonna be without a car? Now you can't get another job, and if you don't have no backup plan, like no other money coming in, there's a very good chance nobody wants to give you a job now. And if you don't create your own business very quickly, you might not have any money for a while. But guess what? When you have a job, when you're already getting paid good money, now everyone wants to give you a job. Don't you see like what's happening? Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that before, but guess what? I've been in situations where I could not find a job to save my life, like in Florida. I was renting for 6 months, used up all my cash reserves, could not find a job to save my life in Florida, and I had to move back to Charlotte at the time. I don't live in Charlotte anymore, but the thing is, I had to move out. I could not do it. And I had those times when I'm doing really good, and then everyone is trying to give me a job even though I'm not looking for one. Same thing happened for me with Chrysler Jeep Dodge. I did not need that job. I did not go out there job hunting. I simply wanted to know, am I employable still? I haven't had a job since 2007. Am I still employable? I mean, I'm 43. I didn't have a job. Like, I did not even fill out an application. I just wanted to see if let me talk to management and see if they need a service technician. I told them, like, look, this is what I do. Here's my channel. I never, like, seriously filled out an application with them. Did not. They gave me a job right away. No ifs or buts. And they said, oh, we're just going to give you a job as a loop tech. Instead, gave me a job as a service technician because they looked at what I'm capable of. I guess they took a further look. Even though I didn't have any prior experience working at a dealership, they gave me a job as a service technician. I was doing really well in it. And I took service technician training, passed everything within a couple weeks. I was done. Like, things was looking up. At least they thought it was. And even though I was willing to continue and just to see where things went, but unrealistic expectations to really, income wise, it just wasn't there because I didn't have the experience. $16 an hour is all you get. No overtime. Sorry. But even though they said I'm going to get unlimited overtime, they did not pay me for unlimited overtime. It's kind of like, yeah, you could work the overtime hours, but you're not going to get paid overtime hours, which kind of sucked, but it's fine. No big deal. Just goes to show you sometimes you have to really, really, really ask and find out, will you actually be paid for the overtime? I had no idea how things worked at a dealership. Apparently, that's what they said, how things worked. But I was still in my 90-day trial, so I was not hired as somebody that, works there, like per labor hour. They said $16 an hour guaranteed pay, and also I could get paid like $18 an hour per labor hour. They did not explain how that works either. So I was under the assumption I'm getting $16 an hour no matter what. And if I complete these jobs faster, I'm going to get paid $18 an hour per labor hour. That means if I complete the job sooner, let's say in 30 minutes, I'll get paid $18 in 30 minutes. But if I complete it slower, I'll still get paid the $16 an hour. That's how it works. But yeah, it's no, don't mean to really bring that up again. But I guess when I also was getting that job, I kind of thought, I do mechanics work and stuff like that. What if, I was thinking about, like, if I open up my own shop, because I did take clients on, but if I open up my own shop and I had, my tools right there in the toolboxes, I had a lift, would I actually like that experience in being all day at a shop and just working on cars? I did not know whether or not I would. And even now, I would not know technically. But I realized while working there in the right setting, because that was a good shop, good toolboxes, I had my own tools, I had a lift, well, two lifts actually, that was at my station, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was going to stick around, except my wife was not willing to wait because while working there, I'm not able to work on nothing else. And that's it. I didn't even work Lyft. Just because when am I going to work Lyft? I basically was at work all day, and when and get stuck in traffic for hour and a half going and hour and a half coming. So by the time I show up home, it was like past 7 p.m. So, and I'm beat because all day I've been working hard as a mechanic. So, but basically, guys, what I'm trying to show you is that if you're going to try to quit Lyft or Uber and just get a regular job, you might not get better pay as a result, and grass is not greener on the other side. You're probably better off, getting, like, let's say, like, $16 an hour obviously is not a good job, but yeah, if you could get a job at $24, $25 an hour or like more, definitely go for it. But if you're somebody that don't want a job, because I don't want a job, I want to be able to work for myself, because working for yourself, man, it's something else, I'll tell you. Because sometimes you're not going to make nothing. And most times, it's a 24/7 type of job, depending on what you do, of course, because you always have to work on your business. And you have to learn now to work extra overtime because you're working for yourself, because you got to find clients, you got to do marketing, you got to, like, actually fix the stuff. Now you're buying tools. Like, I'm just saying, because I'm a mechanic, right? You're constantly having all those expenses now. You might not even be getting the clientele right away, yet you're faced with expenses, especially if you're renting a shop and everything. You're going to have expenses, and expenses. And then you constantly have to buy new tools. Maybe you're going into credit card debt because the clients are not paying you enough money to get those tools right, like, at least in the beginning. And some clients will not pay you altogether because they just needed their car fixed. They don't have the money, and then you have to deal with that issue, which I never had to deal with, thank God. But there's always a chance where if I would show up as a mobile mechanic, somebody might not pay me because you just don't know. So there's that risk, that you have. But as for me, I think one of the best things to do is to do like eBay, because with eBay, you can source things even like online or thrift stores or garage sales or like flea markets and estate sales. And then you could resell stuff. You'll be surprised, man. People buy everything. People constantly buy stuff. And the reason that I mention those things is because, of course, I mentioned that I want to have a used car parts business, and having 35 cars, I have the inventory to do it. I even have a forklift, and I also have commercial grade shelving. I don't have a huge warehouse yet, but I have enough space to store stuff. With that being said, the reason I'm sharing that, like, being a reseller, because anybody can do that, and I'm actually doing that. That's majority of the stuff that's selling is the stuff that I'm reselling. I don't even know what's gonna do better, my parts or reselling, but I'm trying, and like different things, and I will figure that out. And of course, I will be sharing with you guys what really works and what doesn't. But anyways, This is the longest podcast that I have recorded. I don't even know how long has passed. My other podcasts, because I was constantly getting interrupted and constantly picking up new clients and recording in between trips, are shorter. They're like various size, anything from 4 to 7 minutes to 12 minutes, 15 minutes. They're a little bit more bite size. So what I'm gonna end up doing is before I post them, and well, they're already uploaded, but before I start unlocking them, I'm going to create a playlist where you could get into that playlist and watch a playlist on that specific topic that goes in order, and I will number those videos for that specific topic, one, two, three, four, in whatever the episode is, just so that you don't have to listen to everything once. You could watch whatever episode and you could easily find it with a playlist. So thank you guys once again for everything. I appreciate it. Good luck to everybody. Feel free to write in the comments below what you guys think about all this. And feel free to ask me, do you want to know more about eBay? Because I will be still sharing about eBay with you guys, just because I recorded those videos while I'm on the road doing Lyft, because I'm showing you that, hey, while I'm working Lyft, even though I am not getting clients that often, in the slow times, I'm just going offline and I'm going thrifting, which allows me to then buy items to resell. If that, that's kind of like what I'm doing. And you could be doing exactly the same thing. It's kind of like I'm not spending any extra time. Like I'm just doing it while I'm working. But of course, if it's busy, then, you know, keep working Lyft or Uber up until it gets slow again. But buy like little items, you know. But I will be sharing what I'm buying, what's moving or not. And I do actually have an eBay channel where I'm going to be posting videos to, where I'm actually working in my warehouse and posting stuff and showing how to do that. Like that's all the specific information and showing you things that's going to go on my eBay channel. I will be providing a link to it later on in some of those videos, so that you could specifically go to eBay channel and find eBay specific videos. But these videos here goes in line with me working Lyft and trying various different things. It just goes in line with that because that's what I'm working on, but I'm not in my eBay store yet. I am sharing tips and tricks and showing like what I'm doing. So this content will not end up on my eBay channel, even though it's pretty good content, but it's not going to be there. That eBay store is going to have eBay specific content, if that makes sense. But let me know, guys, what you think about me sharing what I'm doing. Also, I am thinking about, once I'm going to also be like driving for Lyft, I'll be recording slightly different style videos, maybe shorts of where I'm going, where I'm finding, what I'm gonna sell and flip things to while I'm actually driving for Lyft. Like I'm thinking about recording that type of content and posting it. That way you guys could see my day to day, like what's going on, like what I'm doing and stuff. As I'm driving for Lyft or Uber, because I'm gonna be sourcing stuff. But that's going to happen. But those times that I'm actually listing used car parts and things that I actually have at home, and you could see what setting I'm working in and actually posting stuff to my eBay store. Would you like those same videos to end up on a Ride VIP channel? Or would you think that maybe I should only share what I'm doing while I'm driving and stuff, like what else I'm doing? Because technically, if I'm at home, right, and let's say I'm at home for like weeks on end, I will stop posting stuff to Ride VIP just because I'm no longer really driving at that time, and instead I'm working on my home stuff. And I'm kind of like wondering whether or not you think that would be helpful to you guys if I posted what I'm doing at home, how much money I'm making, what's selling, and that kind of thing. And of course, those days that I am driving for Lyft or Uber and sourcing, and I'm going to be talking about eBay and sharing screenshots of videos of me going through my store and showing you different things, kind of like what I have, so you have a sense of idea what's really happening because I'll just do that right there and then. But this particular video is just a podcast style video. I just have my app open. If I'm driving, I'm driving. If I'm sharing money, and I have recorded these videos before, I just think it should just stay just like it is. But anyways, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye bye.